going into that first Europa, that's where the whole dark horse thing came along. I went into that check-in. I remember things with the diet I'd learned is to cut out the cheat meals this far out. That year, I remember I think 2 weeks out, I'd done a cheat meal. And if you guys look, I think I have it on my Instagram or my Facebook. There's a picture of me taking a photo of myself, and I've got my phone, my gun on phone, and just looking like an anatomy chart. Skin is no skin, just big and shredded. That was the day after my cheat meal, and my cheat meal was always the exact same thing: burger and fries. It was boring. The wife asked, "Okay, when are you cutting the cheat meals this time?" I was like, "You know what? I'm not going to cut the cheat meals. I'm just, why would I do that when I always look my best? I don't look like this during the week." So we ran right into the show with that. First time I'd really gone ahead and said, let's just train this, at least successfully. I tried a lot of things prior, but that one worked, and we went to the check-ins, and I remember walking in, we ended up showing up late, wife was stressed because we were fighting traffic, and it was a blessing because I walked in and everyone was like, wait a minute. They looked over, and I had just a regular, I think it was like a red polo shirt on, but I was busting out of that shirt. It was cool because even amongst the competitors, and a lot of them were depleted, tired and sunken face, but I looked like I was ready to explode. And so I went up to the front to kind of talk to the judges and get my information, my number. And I remember Big Steve Weinberger, he's like looking at his paper, he looks at me, he looks down, and he looks up again. And he gives me the nod and the handshake, and I was like, okay, that's all I need to know. Because Steve Weinberger, he is the judge. If you get that from him, that means a lot. They were doing the lead up to the show, and Bob Ciccarello and Sean Ray were talking about who they thought were the favorites. And Bob said, that guy Jojo and Tifro, he's the dark horse from this, So I mean, that's a common thing that people use. But then they played on it for a while. Sean Ray said, yeah, he's definitely. I saw him at the athletes meeting. He's as big as a horse, and he's definitely the darkest guy in the show. So I was like, these guys are talking shit, but I like that, because they gave me the nickname, and then at the Olympia, Bob brought it back up. Hey, Jojo, are you still the dark horse? And so that was where Team Dark Horse kind of started. There was one more show in Tampa, and I thought, well, depending on how the points go there, we'll know if I'm in. I got a call from none other than Flex Wheeler, FaceTime me, and I'm thinking, what the Flex Wheeler? I answer the phone. He says, listen, man, I was asleep, taking a nap. He's like, wake the fuck up. You're qualified for the Olympia. I was like, no, what are you talking about? I'm not. We have to wait. He's like, no, I just had lunch with Robin Chang. We did the tabulations. You can't get knocked out. You're in. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm in the Olympia. I just start like,